Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Starladder Season 8, Day 28 coverage. Our round robin getting ever so close to finishing up here, and we've got a lot of matches coming today. Let's get straight into it. First, we've got Fnatic versus Flipsid3 to get things kicked off. We've got 4 games coming up today. I will be solo for game number 1, and then EG Fogged will be joining me for at least games 2 and 3, and then who knows, game 4, the sky's the limit, but I may very well be solo once again. Thank you for joining us here on Beyond the Summit. Today, we will know that top 4, I do believe. It's getting interesting here in the round robin. I actually want to go ahead and pull up the standings here very quickly. There was an upset yesterday with SSD and rox.kis, and that has actually given Fnatic a chance, a sign of life perhaps, to make it up into the top 4 with their 5-loss record. They are currently sitting 10-5. They are close to the end of their round robin, but if they win their last 2 games, they will be tied with rox.kis, potentially tied with the super strong Dinosaurs, and even potentially next.kz. So there is a small sign of life for Fnatic, and they certainly need this one to make it happen. Now, they are the heavy favorites going into Flipsid3. Flipsid3, one of the lowest seeded teams in this particular tournament. They are currently sitting 3-10, still have several games to go, but they have not been performing so well. Hopefully Fnatic doesn't do anything too silly, as they did throw the last 2 games they played here in the round robin of Starladder Season 8. Again, I'm Sayori, happy to be solo casting for Game 1, and thank you for joining us once again. So, into this match, what are we going to see? Last time we saw Fnatic and Starladder, it wasn't so hot. They were the heavy favorites in both matches, and it did not go so well for them. They drafted pretty normal Fnatic style, but they went with these super greedy rosters, particularly with that Enigma. They did an Enigma 5th pick at least one of those last 2 games that they lost, and just did not work out well for them. As always with that Enigma pick, it opens up for a lot of potential for your lanes to be rigid. And if things don't go your way, there's only so much you can do to rotate those lanes, move things around, and make adjustments. You're kind of locked in place with that Enigma dedicated into the jungle. Now let's take a look at the draft here. Flipside have banned out 2 classic Fnatic heroes and 2 scary pushing heroes at that, Furion and Pugna. And on our Radiant side, of course, we do have Fnatic, and that will be a Bristleback Alchemist set of bans to get things kicked off, and I can't say I'm too surprised to see that either. 2 very powerful heroes. Now, of course, that did open up for the Elder Titan 1st pick, a hero that Fnatic have been running a fair bit. We've actually seen a lot of Elder Titan bans recently. It's been a little while since we've actually seen Elder Titan 1st picked, because he's been 1st banned nearly every game over the last couple days of Starladder.
5 seconds remaining.
So, on the side of Flipside, they're going to open with a Veno Luna. We've talked about Veno a little bit, a hero that hasn't gotten a lot of love since he's been brought back down to earth in the last patch, 6.79C. Still a very scary support. He can turtle up well with those Plague Wards. They make for good pushing, and that slow with that Venomous Gale as well as the Poison Sting does synergize pretty well with the Luna. Can chase him down, she can get in position, and set up those kills. So it could be the beginnings of an aggressive tri-lane for Flipsid3. Still a lot of ways they could take this roster. One of the duos that I've been quite surprised at is the Veno Treant Protector combo. And I don't know that Flipside is a team that really likes to utilize the Treant, but that is a duo that can be quite deadly in a tri-lane. That slow of the Leech Seed mixed with the Venomous Gale is pretty potent, especially in those early levels. It is pretty damn scary, and could be interesting if Flipside want to try something a little bit different with their draft. Looks like there are no stand-ins here to get things going, which is a nice change of pace from yesterday, folks. Flipside going to have No Fear, Book, Enlight, Sheasley, and Wicked Sick, and of course the Fnatic roster are going to have all 5, Fly, No Tail, Era, Trixie, and Hani going to be joining us here. So like I said, Fly going to be joining me for the next 2 games. Why did I say Fly? Cheese and crackers. Fogged going to be joining me for the next 2 games today. I'm not sure he's going to stick around for Game 4. Again, today is a day where we have a weird break. The first 3 matches will be in normal hour intervals as we're used to. And then Game 4 today is going to be after a 2-hour break once Game 3 is completed. So there's going to be an extended gap where we're all going to be AFK a little bit. Outworld Devour are going to be the second pick for Fnatic. They did burn most of their bonus time as they were thinking about what they wanted to grab, and they will indeed go for the OD. Most common time to see OD picked, I think, is when you have the second pick, because it gives you that freedom to grab something or to ban out some of the counters to OD and feel a little bit more safe. We see straight away Fnatic going to ban out the Nyx Assassin, a hero that certainly does work very well against the Outworld Devour, and well, we saw it actually displayed for us yesterday. It does pretty damn well.
Dire team ban.
Oh boy, sorry. I was just glancing at chat. So yeah, there's the Razor 4th ban. So Fnatic being very cautious here about the two heroes that do very well against OD in the mid lane. And both of them, I think Razor and Nyx really are the two heroes best suited to deal with that OD. We've talked about it quite extensively, and there really are few heroes that fare well against OD. Not only just pick up some farm, but also shut him down a little bit. And those are two heroes that can really do it, really make his life irritating. That mana burn from Nyx Assassin is just powerful enough to really do it to it. Oh, I see SNY getting a little bit of love in chat. I love it. And Saxman, oh boy. Yeah, you guys know how I feel about Sanj and Yasha. I'm glad that's becoming a thing. Hey, never know. We may see a little SNY action in this game. It's not a terrible item. Not the worst item. Just not my favorite. I know, I know.
10 seconds remaining.
Oh. So Fnatic off to a good start with this draft. Two very potent heroes. Curious how the rest of this draft is going to unfold. Flipside has been pretty smart with their bans so far. Going to take out a couple of those no-tail heroes. Of course, the Enchantress and the Wisp. Have a feeling Visage may be a potential third pick for Fnatic, unless Flipside scoop them up right here with their third pick. Still plenty of micro-intensive heroes in the pool that no-tail likes to play aplenty. Both teams being very cautious with this draft. At first, it seemed this draft was going to be going by very quickly, so I wanted to hop right into it. And then, well, lo and behold, both teams going to burn just about all their bonus time as we move into the third pick. So this is going to be a Rubik. An interesting choice for Flipside. Rubik is a hero that works pretty well against Luna. Again, we saw that yesterday. We've seen it a couple times. If Rubik can manage to steal Eclipse, that can be a big game changer in those team fights. So always good to scoop up the Rubik yourself, and a pretty solid support between Rubik and Venomancer. You're going to have a fair bit of crowd control between the slow of the Gale and the disable of the Telekinesis. A very quick cast time on that Telekinesis as well. So glad to see Flipside grabbing at least one sort of one form of disable here, as that is something they're lacking. Fnatic can go ahead and grab the Crystal Maiden, I guess valuing that armor or that mana aura a bit more than the Visage, and especially with a Rubik second pick, feeling pretty safe that Visage won't be fourth picked here. I think that CM does make a lot of sense, and again, I would be very surprised if this wasn't a Visage fourth pick for Fnatic. Got to get that no-tail hero. And oh, interesting. All right, so Flipside going to grab the TA. Now, we were talking about heroes that fare pretty well against the Outworld Devourer. And if we're going to set up tiers, and whoa, Daddy, Slark going to be grabbed by Fnatic. They did try a little bit of Slark play when we last saw them. But this is going to be a little bit interesting, because last we saw Slark picked up by Fnatic in Starladder. It was an offlane Slark. I believe that was the Trixie hero, and that was part of the reason that Enigma pick I was talking about didn't work so well, because they had this offlane Slark that got completely shut down, and they couldn't make any rotations to try and get him a little bit of farm. Flipside, oh, they're going to ban out the Naga with that final pick. I don't know about, or that final ban. I don't know about that. I think Visage would have been a much better ban here. A scary hero in the hands of No-Tail. They will take out the Naga Siren. Now, if we're looking at tiers of heroes that do well against OD, I would consider Nyx Assassin and Razor in the upper echelon, the two best heroes to deal with OD. In the echelon below that, you've got your TAs, your Kunkas, the heroes that have some sort of a non-mana based harass. You got your Psyblades to chip away at OD, and you've got your Tidebringer, of course. So it doesn't matter if OD steals all your intellect, you have no mana pool, you can still harass him a little bit, and if you're very cautious about those passives, you can kind of harass him out of lane in certain scenarios. So TA does pretty well, but she still is not the end-all be-all of OD, and I think she's going to have her, she will have her work cut out for her, also partially because it will be Hani playing the OD, and of course Hani is one of the best mid players around, and his OD is pretty scary, pretty good.
5 seconds remaining.
So we'll see how the final parts of this draft settle down. I like that Timbersaw ban from Fnatic, but Clockwork's still going to be in the pool. Flipside going to round off their roster with a great hero. Going to give them some solid initiation, some solid crowd control as well with those power cogs. That's one thing I worry about with this Flipside roster, though. They don't have a very elusive team. Everyone on their team, less that of the Clockwork, if he has a hook shot available, is pretty susceptible to lockdown. Right? Venomancer, Luna, Rubik, TA, none of them really have a great escape mechanism. And that's something that I think is a little bit scary. They also don't have a huge amount of stuns, and oh my! Well, pardon me, I would have thought for sure Visage would have a showing in this game. I'm a little bit shocked to see a Storm Spirit pick here. My question now is, how will Fnatic lane this? Of course, these picks are a little bit crazy. Who's going to be going mid? I guess this will be a support Elder Titan. And yeah, that's like no tail on the Elder Titan, so that will be support. Fly going to be on the Crystal Maiden. Hani will be mid on the OD, and that means they're going to do the one position Storm Spirit with Era. And again, it will be an off-lane Slark being handled by Trixie. This is a really interesting draft. Certainly not the way I would have thought Fnatic would want to do it, and I'm going to be curious to see how this works out for them. A very solid roster. They will grab some crowd control with that Storm Spirit. Now, this isn't quite as crazy as it looks. We have seen Fnatic run that position 1 Storm Spirit before. They did it when they picked Wisp a couple games ago, 2 games ago. They've done it actually a couple of times with Era on the Storm Spirit, and it works pretty well. Storm is obviously a hero that needs a lot of experience, one of the reasons that he is considered a mid-hero in most scenarios, but he does work in that one position because he can snowball if he gets out of control, if he gets a little bit of farm, grabs a couple of early kills, and they'll keep Era pretty quiet until he hits that level 8, level 9 mark or so. He'll be working up that mana pool, probably going to be looking to grab an Orchid first and then get much more mobile and start setting up kills. No tail, you need to be a little careful here, buddy. Oh no, he's going to walk right into it. This should be an easy first blood. No tail going to fall. Luna going to be the one to grab that bit of bonus gold to be rewarded for that first blood. Not off to a good start here, Fnatic. Oh, that's going to hurt you. Oh, Nelly. Like I said, folks, Fnatic getting a stroke of luck here in this round robin. The upset yesterday between SSD and rox.kis has given Fnatic a sign of life. There is a chance they could still make it in a tie-break scenario if they win the remaining 2 matches they have here in the last few days of round robin. They absolutely need this win, and they're off to a little bit of a rocky start. Nothing insurmountable by any means, but a little bit of a scary start for sure. Let's go ahead and introduce our rosters here. We do have No Tail playing on the support Elder Titan down here in the bottom lane. Fly going to be supporting on the Crystal Maiden. Arrow, he'll be not supporting, he'll be in the 1 position on that Storm Spirit down here in the bottom. Of course, Hani going to be solo mid on the Outworld Devourer. And up top it will be Trixie and the solo offlane Slark. Fnatic really like this offlane Slark. And historically, I don't think it's worked too well for him, but they're going to try it nonetheless. Now, we're already going to see in the mid lane, Hani in a little bit of trouble. Sheasley going to have the haste rune. Telekinesis to start it off. There's Bulk with an easy Gale. And this should be an easy kill onto Hani. He will get an Astral off. Not going to be enough to keep him alive. Flip side, they came to win. They are here to play. And they have gotten another easy kill. Gonna grab it on the Outworld Devourer, and that one's gonna go the way of the TA. So already off to the races. Their 2 carries, the Templar Assassin and the Luna, gonna pick up kills to start off this match. A great way to get things kicked off here. Now let's go ahead and introduce our Dire side. We do have No Fear playing on the Clockwork in the long lane here. In the mid, it will be In Light playing on the Templar Assassin, and they will have a tri-lane up top, putting a lot of pressure on this Trixie. Gonna be Luna, played by Wicked Sick, Sheasley on the Rubik, and they will be joined by Bulk on the Venomancer. So a very aggressive tri-lane here for Flipside RU, and they're going to make Trixie's life a living hell before he hits level 6. That will be the turning point when Trixie's going to have a little bit more wiggle room and the ability to survive. One of the reasons Slark works well in the off lane is because he does have Pounce. It is a great escape vehicle, but still not the end-all be-all of survivability. Between the Gale and the Telekinesis, that makes for an easy setup. Luna, that speedy devil that she is, can hop into position and start getting those auto attacks off. That Lunar Blessing, not to be underestimated when you're in a tri-lane scenario like this. Let's just take a quick gander at the graph, see how things are going. Fnatic farming back their early deficit, so it's not too bad for them. But still, a rocky start indeed. In Light looking like he's doing pretty well in the mid lane against OD, sitting 6-3. He'll make that 7-3 against the 8-4 Outworld Devourer. So still pretty comparable. As I mentioned in the picking phase, TA can hold her own against the OD, but certainly not going to win the lane handily. Meanwhile, on the bottom, though, no fear, going to be in some trouble. This should be a kill on the board for Fnatic. They're going to try and give it to Era, and they're going to make it happen. Era going to grab that one last auto attack, and will finish off the clockwork. So Fnatic going to get one up on the scoreboard. A much-needed kill, and that will help out their one position Storm quite a bit. Now the other disparity, it seems Era getting the slightly better of the farm compared to his Luna counterpart. He is sitting 11-6 against the 9-5 Luna up here in the top lane. So it is a pretty even spread across the lanes. Both teams doing pretty comparable stuff. They've got supports pretty equally suited for the jungle. Fnatic may have a slight advantage in terms of jungling, as Crystal Maiden a little bit more of a dedicated jungler than those other supports, but Rubik does fare pretty well, as does Venomancer, compliments of those Plague Wards. And we see level 2 Plague Ward coming out, and probably going to want to grab that level 3 Poison Sting to synergize well with those Plague Wards. 1-2 here at the 3-minute mark. Oh man, Fnatic not making it easy on themselves, that's for damn sure. I see chat already exploding. GG, easy rares, TY Fnatic. This would be quite the upset. Maybe a bigger upset than that SSD rox.kis match yesterday. If Flipside are able to snake a win here, that would truly seal the fate of Team Fnatic in terms of their little bit of hope for making it into the top 4 here in Starladder. So let's talk about carry advantage a little bit, and I have to give it to Flipside. If they let this game go on long enough, they certainly will have that carry advantage with the Luna as well as the Templar Assassin. Of course, OD as well as Storm will get out of control. They do have a lot of carry power themselves, but I think in the late game, Flipside will absolutely take it. That Luna in particular, she just gets so nasty once her farm gets out of control. So if Flipside can have a break even here in the laning phase, do pretty well in the mid game, and just hold off the pushing of Fnatic, they may be in good shape. But I have a feeling Fnatic will hit this mid-game stride, and as I said, right around that level 8, level 9 mark is when this Storm Spirit's going to start getting a bit more active. He needs those core items, needs a little bit of sustain, wants to get those important points up before he starts moving around too much. But expect Era to be very mobile here in this mid-game. That's one of the great things about the Position 1 Storm, is you do get that mobility. Now, there will be a smoke from Flipside as they do rotate their way down to the bottom lane. No fear, going to get engaged on. Era wants to maybe make this happen. Only level 5, not going to be able to ball lightning forward. Rubik going to be here, but Era's still going to pursue, and he might actually be able to make this happen. Does he want to dive the tower? No, he does not. Now Fly going to get turned around on, and that will be a 1-for-0 going the way of Flipside. Era going to be in kind of an awkward position here. Bulk going to hit level 3, not going to get the Poison Sting, a little surprised by that, so he won't have the passive slow, only a second point in Plague Ward. If they had the Poison Sting, there might be a chance that slow would give him enough of an edge to catch up to that Storm Spirit, maybe get him stuck in some cogs, so a little bit surprised by that level path from Bulk, but still they will allow Era to survive. Still going to grab a kill onto Fly, so the smoke going to prove to be at least semi-successful as Flipside add another one to the scoreboard. Goldgraph just about leveled out, but Fnatic are finding the better of the experience farm here. Again, I'd credit a fair bit of that to the Crystal Maiden, who has been a little bit more active in the jungle, while the Flipside supports have been a little bit more conscious about moving around the map, trying to set up kills. So not surprised to see a small experience edge the way of Fnatic, despite Flipside having that kill advantage to start things off. Fly will rotate up to the top lane, may try and set up a kill onto this Luna. Trixie getting close to that level 6 mark that I talked about, and that'll make his life a lot easier. This is so much better for Trixie than the last time we saw Fnatic run the off-lane Slark. He's at least getting experience. He's now sitting 13-3. So his farm could certainly be a lot worse, but that experience is what's valuable for Slark. One of the things that makes him scary as a carry is that in that mid-game, boy, can he do a lot of damage without a lot of items under his name, so or to his name, I should say. Of course, one of several reasons why he is well-suited for that off-lane position. Storm Spirit now going to be level 6, so we will have that ball lightning. It's sort of a shame that Flipside were unable to set up a kill onto the Storm Spirit before grabbing that level 6 ball lightning mobility tool. And now things will be a little bit more difficult for Flipside in terms of ganking that bottom lane, because Era will have the power to turn it around if they overcommit, as we saw. Could have finished off that clockwork had he been level 6 just a few minutes ago. So we see Era still continuing to pull ahead in the farm a little bit over the Luna. About 8 CS up, so nothing too crazy, but still a lead nonetheless. Same goes from the mid lane. Hani up on the Templar Assassin, actually by just about 8 CS as well. So not the biggest of differences, but still big enough. And we'll see Hani just obliterate the TA here in the mid lane. And that's where things get scary. You see, you sort of think to yourself against an OD, well, I'm not an int hero, so the int steal doesn't hurt that much, but there we saw Hani had 4 10 intellect steals, so that difference between the Sanity's Eclipse is just absolutely insane. It is insane in the membrane, and he is going to secure a solo kill onto the TA. Hani really in great shape now. While that was happening, though, I did miss a kill in the bottom lane. Unfortunately, Elder Titan going to be able to make it happen, but against the clockwork against the Storm and Elder Titan, not much that he can do. As I said, now that Era's level 6, he's much more mobile and can set up those kills a little bit more easily. Elder Titan also going to be level 4, 2 points to that natural order, does allow that Storm to do a little bit more damage and makes that kill a bit easier to set up. Now Flipside will make a rotation. They're feeling the pressure. They know they need to make something happen, and they will do a 3-man smoke as they head towards the bottom lane. Sheasley and Light going to be joining No Fear. They will rotate into the river near the Dire Ancients, and we'll see where they go. Are they going to head to the mid lane, or are they going to head down bottom to try and set up a kill on Era? And it looks like they do want to rotate into the mid. Now, Clockwork only level 4, so of course he does not have a hook shot, and that's going to make this smoke a little bit more difficult, I think. They will catch wind of Fly, and oh no, Fly doesn't see it coming. This is going to be an easy kill right here. Telekinesis to start it off, and they will finish him off with the Fade Bolt as TA gets a couple of right clicks off. So again, they'll grab another kill, add it to the scoreboard, but unfortunately not on one of those high-value heroes. You know, picking on the supports, yeah, that's great. A kill is never a bad thing, but not the most valuable of kills. They really need to slow down this Storm Spirit, slow down the OD. Those are the two that are going to be out of control into this mid-game, and they really need to slow down their momentum now that both Era and Hani have been able to pick up a couple of kills. Hani sitting 1-1-0, and Era sitting 1-0-1. Net worth chart telling a pretty solid story here. Not the biggest of disparities, but still Fnatic starting to find a small edge. We look at that gold graph, about 1,500 gold, somewhere about 2,000 experience here as we're about to approach the 10-minute mark. Fnatic really off to a solid start, given their rocky opening in this match with that early 0-2, conceding those early deaths. Oops, sorry about that. They made a pretty solid recovery, though, in terms of the laning phase. Again, Trixie, I think, the big disparity, the big outlier here. We look at Trixie, about 2.5k on the net worth chart, and Clockwork, only level 5. He's at about 1.5k. So all of this roaming from Flipside did not come for free, and I don't think the supports have been able to pick up enough kills to make this dual roaming strategy worth it. When you roam 2 supports and stop them from farming, stop them from controlling a lane and boxing out your opponent's hard lane, you really got to make kills happen. The pressure is on. It's a gamble, and it can work if you can set up the kills, but they just haven't moved around enough, or they haven't been able to secure enough kills on those high-value targets. And that's opened up a lot of room for Trixie. He's now level 7, very close to level 8, and he's at that point now where Trixie's going to start hitting pretty hard, even though he doesn't have a lot of items to his name. He does have Power Treads and Orb of Venom, and if he catches a pounce, like onto Venomancer, for example, I think that will be a pretty easy kill. That Dark Pack going to make his life a little bit easier as well, in terms of cleansing himself from all those sticky slows that the Venomancer can put out. Still a reasonably quiet game, though. Only 7 kills here in 10 minutes. Both teams focused around farming. Not surprised to see that on either side. Gonna glance here. It looks like no Midas have come out on either side. Wicked Sick just going to go Power Tread straight into BKB, it would seem. He does have that Ogre Club already. Rubik going to take an aggressive position in the jungle here, looking for maybe a wraparound engage. I think they'll be hard-pressed to set up a kill on Trixie, though. He is pretty elusive here at this point, now that he has the Shadow Dance and some levels in that Dark Pact. Hani not going for the Hand of Midas either. Looks like he is just going to go Force Staff, and oh, needs to be a little careful there. And Light maybe had an opening to try and finish him off if he wanted to get a little bit more aggressive, but that low mana pool is a bit of a hindrance here. Those side blades, part of the reason why TA does work pretty well against OD. Up top, it looks like Fnatic want to get a little bit aggressive, but Flipside not going to overcommit. They will back up with plenty of time to spare and will survive to tell the tale. Era going to make a rotation up to the top lane as well, sitting level 9. As I mentioned, this is that time when he wants to start moving around, has himself some Power Treads, Ring of Health already, and going to start working on that Bloodstone. His farm looking pretty solid. He is leading the way on net worth. Going to just go ahead and pick up the Perseverance here for a little bit of extra right-click damage, as well as a good bit of regeneration. Rotation not going to prove successful, though. Luna will just rotate down to the bottom lane. Sitting level 8 is just looking for a little bit of free farm to try and get that BKB up. How's this TA doing? Sitting on phase boots right now with a magic wand. Kind of curious what build and light is going to go for with this Templar Assassin. And there it is, actually going to give us a little bit of insight right there. An Ogre Club just delivered. Thought he may want to go for a Blink first, but it appears that BKB will be the name of the game for Flipside. And I can't say that I blame him. Against an OD, Storm Spirit, and Elder Titan, BKB is going to be a very valuable tool here and may be the key to their success in this mid game. I think a mechanism may go a long way for Flipside as well. I think it's pretty obvious that Fnatic will want to hit a mid-game stride and start knocking down some of these towers, and I think a mech, especially if Fnatic don't grab a mech themselves, could give them a little bit of an edge in these team fights and make that mid-game that much easier for them, though it doesn't look like anyone working towards a mech. Clockwork could be working towards it, but he is still a ways off because his farm is completely lackluster at the moment. So we may finally see some kills take place. Trixie in the jungle. He will catch Wicked Sick out of position, but not going to connect with the pounce. Actually going to be pretty far off the mark. And Luna just going to be able to walk away. Bit of a missed opportunity there for Trixie. Probably could have set up a solo kill. Hard for Luna to use that Eclipse in any meaningful manner. As soon as she pops it, of course, you just go Shadow Dance, and that burns most of the Eclipse. Era down bottom. Could have a little pressure coming his way. Sheasley going to be inbound. Looking for an opening, perhaps, is going to steal the Static Remnant. Uh-oh, but in the mid, now TA going to get engaged on. Fly going to come in. Crystal Nova to start it off. There's the Frostbite. And Hani going to try and lay in some right clicks, but going to have no way to deal with the meld. Couldn't think of a more artistic way to say that. And there we go. They're finally going to get the Sentry as the Astral comes out. And Light going to be in big trouble here. I think he may be destined to fall, but no. Fear going to be nearby. He's going to have a hook shot, Cogs to come out. Hani will survive, but it will force him back. Great rotation from the Clockwork. It will keep his TA alive, and kind of a wasted Sentry Ward. Maybe not wasted, that's not the best word for it, but now it will box TA out a little bit, but not going to use it to secure the kill. Storm Spirit going to come down bottom, will grab himself a Regeneration Rune. Going to get knocked off by the TA, but still will deny the rune for TA, who does have an empty bottle. Nicely played from Arrow right there. And here we are at that 14-minute mark. Fnatic with a 5-man team mid. They're going to engage on Bulk. They'll find him. That'll be an easy kill as Trixie starts it off. Arrow going to come in to finish him off as he uses that ball lightning forward. This is that mid-game stride we were talking about. All 5 members of Fnatic mid. They'll start chipping away at this tier 1 tower mid. Trixie will rotate back up to the top lane to put some pressure on Luna to stop the free farm. And they may be able to grab themselves a tier 1 tower kill to start things off here as they move out of the laning phase. Luna is getting pretty close to the BKB, so that's a core item that will help Flipside in this team fight prowess. Tower going to get down to about half health, and Fnatic will back out. They don't have the best pushing lineup, so they won't overcommit. But in Light down bottom, needs to be a little careful. I thought Era may be a bit more aggressive there. Electric Vortex sitting level 3. Could have disabled TA into the tower for a little bit of extra damage, but I guess suspicious that he would be able to finish off the kill given he does not have any detection of his own. Era well on his way to a very quick Bloodstone here. He does have Powered Treads now and a Perseverance, as we mentioned, about 2,100 in the bank, just about 1,000 off finishing that Bloodstone, and that will be a great timing. He will have it pre-20 minutes with Powered Treads first, and that is great news for Fnatic. Ball Lightning on Rubik will allow him to initiate here onto Hani. Of course, he's got the Force Staff already. Going to put himself in a better position. Earth Splitter comes out as No Fear hook shots in. No Fear in big trouble. One more auto attack to finish him off. Trixie going to come in on that Slark, and that will be the end of him. Now they're going to continue to engage, and Light going to be in big trouble. Not going to be able to meld here. Compliments of that Sentry Ward. Will get a Refraction off, but it's not going to be enough. Pounce going to connect, and he is going to fall. Trixie going to get a double kill, but it may cost him. Going to eat those wand charges. Going to pick him back up, and he will be able to survive, at least for now, a couple of Poison Sting stacks, but the regeneration will be enough to keep him alive. Meanwhile, Elder Titan going to dive that tier 1 tower and will catch the Rubik. So that's going to be a 3-for-0 exchange in the mid lane. Fnatic with all 5 still alive may be able to continue pursuing. Luna going to get caught inside of an Astral. The Astral Spirit going to hit him, ironically enough. Now Book going to get caught. Era going to get caught inside the Eclipse, though, and oh no, that's going to make it a 1-for-1. The perspective of Era will be a 4-for-1 across the boards. Well played by the Luna. A great Eclipse does secure a kill, and Luna does survive. So that is a BKB recipe coming out for the Moon Rider. But oh no, Trixie with a double damage rune. He'll get stuck inside the Cogs. Certainly not what No Fear was hoping for. He is going to have a dark packed up in 2 seconds. Is it going to be enough? No! Oh, the timing's so bittersweet right there. Trixie would have had it in just another half second, but he will fall before he goes into uber undetectable mode. And Flipside will grab yet another recovery kill here. So they do get a couple of valuable kills following that fight. We see it on the gold graph as things go up, peak, and then start to taper off. Still a pretty big deficit for Flipside here at the 17-minute mark. Their tier 1 tower does hold, but still a much better fight for Fnatic, I think, needless to say. Storm Spirit still getting a positive exchange, and now one step closer to that Bloodstone. Gonna need just about another 600 gold or so before he'll have enough to grab that soul booster. Now let's take a look at some of these other inventories here and see what everyone else is working on. We mentioned that BKB on Luna. Looks like Templar Assassin getting a little bit closer. Gonna have that Mithril Hammer here and about 150 gold or so. Clockwork working towards his power treads, but not too much else in item progression following that fight. As we've seen, Hani does have a Force Staff, but not too much else to his name at this juncture. Though the Force Staff has already saved him on a number of occasions, at least twice now he's been in a sticky situation and been able to Force Staff back to safety. So that positioning tool, always a valuable pickup on the OD. Eight to 6 here at the 18-minute mark. Fnatic going to find another kill up at the top rune, though. Sheasley going to grab the haste. Will they actually find the kill? Trixie might not be fast enough. If he can get a good pounce off. Oh, looking for the dark pack. A noble effort. Very close to securing that kill, but not going to find it. So Rubik will survive by the skin of his teeth. Now up top, and Light could be in a little bit of trouble. Era going to port in. He may want to ball Lightning forward. There it is. Going to connect with Light. Not going to find the Electric Vortex, though. Trixie going to connect with a pounce. That will be a leash, and I think this CA destined to fall. Poison Nova gets off before the Venomancer falls. No Eclipse up for Wicked Sick. Will pop the BKB. Going to be able to stand his ground and find a kill onto the Crystal Maiden. But Era also going to stand his ground and just try and right-click him down. They'll be able to finish him off as Elder Titan comes back in. Will cost him a Storm Spirit, though, as No Fear rotates his way up. Hookshot, Cogs, Battery Assault will end up a 2-for-3 exchange. Fnatic still going to find the better of it. But Flipside showing there's a sign of life. That BKB for Luna already coming in handy. If only Luna had the Eclipse up, that fight would have gone so differently. Could have done a lot of damage right there. He is level 5, so that level 2 Eclipse gets some extra beams out. Really could have turned that fight around. Very unfortunate timing. Here we're going to see Rubik maybe in a bit of trouble. Astral Imprisonment, Astral Spirit. Oh, there's the Sanity's Eclipse. Going to catch all 3 of them. Will make for an easy Clockwork kill to follow up. Now Bulk in trouble. Down he goes. Trixie going to right-click him down. That will be a double kill for the Slark. Hani going to grab the other. So although it was a 3-for-2, Fnatic going to grab another 3-for-0 exchange directly following that fight. And now they will take out this top tier 1 tower. A great exchange. Hani has been on point with those Sanity's Eclipse so far in this match. It's a long cooldown, but boy, can it be potent if used properly. Now, all of a sudden, Fnatic erupting with momentum here. About a 10,000 gold lead, 7,500 experience lead. Wicked Sick down bottom, going to be in big trouble. Era going to try to do as much damage as he can before the BKB gets popped. BKB comes out. It's going to be a solo Eclipse onto Era. Oh, no, he's going to make a little bit of a misplay there at the end. That one last auto attack going to finish him off. A noble effort indeed, but Luna will find the better of him as he kills him with one last right-click following a great solo Eclipse. Era probably should have known better than that. He should have known that cooldown was coming up as Luna didn't use it in that last skirmish, and it's not that long of a cooldown. A pretty lengthy ultimate, but short enough that I think you can assume it'd be off cooldown in a scenario like that. So Era will make a bit of a misplay there, but still a huge gold lead for Fnatic. They created a little bit of space, and they did knock down the top tier 1 tower as well as the mid tier 1, making the total tower count 2-0 in favor of Fnatic and furthering their gold lead by a nice margin there. Flipside with the right idea, though. They're going to move into the Roche Pit. They've got a double damage rune on TA, and I like this idea. They know they're behind. They know they need to do something a little bit crazy. You ever seen that show, Wild and Crazy Kids, on Nickelodeon? Flipside would have made great contestants. They're going to hop right into the Roche Pit here. Astral Spirit going to scout it out, and I'm not sure they're going to have the DPS to finish this off. Echo Stomp going to be used. There's a hookshot onto Fly to initiate. Era going to hop in. He's going to snatch the Aegis of the Immortal. He's also going to finish off Roshan. It was finished by the Radiant, so it's a complete snipe by Fnatic. Templar Assassin going to fall in the mix. Now Sheasley going to be pursued. He's going to go down. Venomancer going to get picked off as well as he pops out of the Astral. That's going to be a 3-for-0. A Roshan going the way of Fnatic, and they get the Aegis of the Immortal. That couldn't have gone better for Fnatic. Conversely, really couldn't have gone worse for Flipside. I like the thought process. I like the idea to take a risk, but boy did that cost him. And now Fnatic really going to have a sizable lead here. Just about 14,000 gold, 12,000 experience. They knock down that bottom tier 1 tower and may be able to start chipping away at this tier 2 as well. More items coming out. We've seen the Bloodstone onto the Storm Spirit. Now the Slark going to have a Shadow Blade. Hani going to be working towards a Sheep Stick, and Era going to be working towards a Sheep Stick of his own. He's now got that ultimate orb in tow. This is where Flipside really see themselves in trouble. TA still a ways off that BKB, unless, is it on the courier right now? Nope, that's going to be a Yasha coming out for the Luna. So TA's farm has really fallen off. Now Hani effectively doubling the TA. Not even effectively, officially now, as he finishes off that tier 2 tower down here in the bottom lane. So it's starting to look like Fnatic may be able to seal the deal here, folks. 17-9 at the 22-minute mark. Haystroom going to spawn down bottom here in 22 minutes. It is going to be grabbed by the Outworld Devourer, and he will just start cruising around here. They are going to have a little bit of counter ward action. We'll take some vision control down here in the bottom. They need vision up top to finish it off. They'll use that Astral Spirit. Boy, does that Astral Spirit come in handy. One of several tools that makes Elder Titan a big irritant to play against. Not only that natural order and the Earth Splitter, but the scouting potential of the Astral Spirit and the setup that you can do with the Echo Stomp. Just such a powerful hero across the board. Any sort of vision tool, very highly underrated in competitive Dota. Let's take a look at the scoreboard here, and look at this Elder Titan. 4-1 and 12. No-Tail has been all over the place. He has been involved in 16 of the 17 kills that Fnatic have put on to the board here. That is very impressive. No-Tail has just been spot on. He don't need no visage. He's got himself an Elder Titan, and he's doing just fine. Now that Trixie has himself a Shadow Blade, things will be a bit more difficult for Flipside. That opens up a lot more aggressive potential, and we'll see him do a wraparound here. Perhaps we'll scout out behind the tower. Gonna pounce straight into Sheasley. That'll be an easy kill on the Rubik. Now they're gonna see the Veno, the two squishy supports of Flipside RU. Gonna fall to the wrath of the Slark as Trixie picks up a double kill here. And now this tier 2 tower in the mid. Gonna be under heavy fire, and I think it will be destined to fall. Not much Flipside can do to defend it, given that it is a 5v3. Best they can do is hope for a trade, and they will find it. Gonna take out that tier 1 tower up top. In exchange for the tier 2 in the mid, at least they grab something. But oh no, no fear. Needs to be a little careful. I thought Era may want to hop on him there, but not gonna go for it. Doesn't want to overcommit. Perhaps thinking it could be bait. Doesn't want to activate the trap card. And they will finish off this tier 2 tower in the mid lane. Hani again going to grab that last hit for a little bit of extra gold. Going to further his net worth even more, though Era is nipping at his heels on that net worth chart.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Fnatic unrelenting with the pressure here, as they well should be. No reason to back up. They've got plenty of sustain, a good bit of regen. Still no mech on either side, which is a little bit surprising, but they don't need a mech when they've got a 24-minute Sheep Stick on the Outworld Devourer. Oh man, now they've got these huge crowd control tools, and Flipside just aren't geared up to deal with it. TA still working towards that BKB, getting very close now, just a couple hundred off that recipe, but still has a little ways to go. Luna has picked up a Yasha since the BKB, but still not the most item progression. We see no fear going for, well, possibly a mech, could possibly be a blade mail as well. But still, not a huge amount in the way of item progression. Does now have an Ogre Club. Just going to try and up that HP buffer. Could be the beginnings of a BKB. Could just be that casual Ogre Club. Down bottom, the tier 1 tower for Fnatic will fall. Era going to come in. He is going to start it off on Wicked Sick. Out comes the Eclipse, and it will be enough to secure a kill onto the Crystal Maiden. Era getting very low, but they will finish off TA. The remainders will pour it out as the rest of Fnatic looking to pursue. Hani does have a Sanity's Eclipse up, but isn't going to have the opportunity to use it. It is going to be a 1-for-1 down here in the bottom. Rubik going to finish off the CM, but they will manage to kill the Templar Assassin. So needless to say, Fnatic will find the better of the exchange, and they will press up here and maybe chip at the tier 3. Maybe not the best lane to pressure. Do they still have the Aegis up? They actually do. Era has yet to fall, so this is that time where Fnatic can just be hyper-aggressive if they want to. They can throw that Aegis away, and it's not a big problem. Storm Spirit, one of the best Aegis carriers in the game because he's not very cooldown-based. He's more mana/hit point-based, so when he pops back up with full health, can just start ball lightning like crazy back to safety. So really a great carrier. Him and Lesh, both of them, just fabulous, fabulous Aegis carriers. Resource-based heroes more so than cooldown-based, I suppose one could say. It's more of a concise way to sum it up. Anything else in the way of item progression here? Era is getting dangerously close to a Sheep Stick of his own. And a double cheap stick versus a singleton BKB, I think, will bode well for Fnatic. They also did secure a kill on TA before she was able to finish up that BKB. We'll be able to grab it now. The recipe's in transit via the courier, but still another great kill on one of those high-value targets. But look at the KDHR. That's been the biggest bane for Flipside here. They've been able to kill Crystal Maiden 4 times. And they've also been able to kill this Storm Spirit 3. So not the best. Storm Spirit, a very valuable target, but those 4 kills on Crystal Maiden, they're not bad, but just not the high-value targets you have to shut down. OD with only 1 death, Slark with only 1 death, those are the heroes that you need to focus more on shutting down, and Flipside have just been unable to do it. Fnatic will take out the last remaining outer tower for Flipside. That will make the total tower count now 6-2, of course, heavily favoring Team Fnatic. Sheepstick now picked up by Era on that Storm Spirit. That is the second Sheepstick here for for Fnatic. And Trixie, well, he's got an ultimate orb. Probably going to be a Scotty coming out. He did go for the Orb of Venom first, and would make sense, an item that synergizes very well with Slark. They're going to find Bulk here. That's going to be an easy initiation. Sheepstick to start it off with Hani. And, well, just going to right-click him down to add another kill to the board. 22-10 here at that 27-minute mark. It feels like just a matter of time at this juncture, folks. Let's take a look at the gold graph now. Almost 20,000 in favor of Fnatic. Experience graph pretty comparable here, somewhere around that 18-minute mark. Oh, Era maybe in a little bit of a weird position. I think he can handle a solo and light. He does have a gem, so that meld not going to work out too well for the TA. But TA still does hit pretty hard. There's the Sheepstick going to be used, and now TA going to be in a little bit of trouble. Support going to be nearby. No fear trying to line up a hook shot. Is going to throw it, but Era still going to be all right. He does not have the Aegis. Oh, no. And that will be a free kill onto the Storm Spirit. It does take a lot of focus from Flipside, though, and the rest of Fnatic will just pressure into that tier 3 in the mid lane. Glyph available for Flipside. Will burn it right away here. They are going to port back, but still about half damage done to that tower. Don't know if that was the best exchange, your Storm Spirit for half damage on a tier 3 tower, but at least Fnatic do something. They make the best use of it. Very unfortunate for Era right there, though. Manta Style now up on the Luna, who is also level 16, so she's going to start hitting a little bit harder, a little bit faster. And those Eclipse Beams are going to be a bit more potent now as well. I worry that it's just not going to be enough, though. This Hani is just getting out of control. He's very close to a BKB. Once he finishes off this camp, actually going to have enough to grab the recipe. So he'll just grab that BKB to add to the Scythe of Ice and the Force Staff. And now I'm not sure how they're going to kill this OD. He's got the positioning tool, he's got the magic immunity, and he can just stand his ground and get those arcane orbs off. Just pew, 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 straight into it. I'm not sure how Flipside are going to handle it. They just don't have the crowd control. We talked about that in the draft. They have a pretty solid lineup, but what CC do they have? They've got Clockwork with Power Cogs and Battery Assault. That's sort of a crowd control. They've got Rubik Telekinesis, and that's just about it. They've got a fair bit of slows, a fair bit of damage, but no strong crowd controls to try and lock down someone like this OD or the Storm Spirit. And this is an environment where Storm Spirit really thrives. He's very elusive, very mobile, and you need those sure stuns to lock him down. Now Flipside, going to have a nice aggressive idea here. They will do a 5-man smoke and rotate into the Radiant jungle, perhaps looking to catch someone. If they had done this just a moment ago, they probably would have found themselves a kill on the Outworld Devourer, but unfortunately Fnatic going to have the same idea, and they will smoke up and head towards the top lane. Fnatic going to find the better of it, though. They'll have creeps up at the tier 3. Meanwhile, Flipside going to be down, pressuring the tier 2. They may be able to finish off this tier 2, but at what? Fnatic going to be able to set it up here. Uh-oh, Wicked Sick going to come in. He will get an Eclipse off, but unfortunately not going to do too much. BKB on Hani, and Slark going to use the ultimate. Trixie will pay with his life, but it will finish off Wicked Sick. Meanwhile, up top, Hani doing a fair bit of damage. Luna will buy back, and Light doing a lot of damage to him as well. No Fear going to come in. Hani just wants to port out, and he will survive. Fnatic can overcommit a little bit right here, I think. They will trade a 3-for-3, 1 buyback used by the Dire side, and it will be on the Luna. Going to get about half damage on that top tier 3 in exchange for their tier 2. So really not the best exchange that Fnatic have found all game. I would give them a small edge just because the Luna did burn a buyback right there. If Luna was a little bit more cautious about buying back, Fnatic really would have taken a poor fight. Overcommitting a bit. I thought they might be able to grab a good setup as the ports were coming in. They did well to try and mitigate the damage from the Luna, but Trixie just way overcommitting. No reason to dive into the tier 4s in a situation like that. Fnatic have a big lead. Yeah, they have an edge in the team fight, but you just have to back up and chip away at this tower. You know that there's no glyph up. It's been down for quite a while. just start doing some work on the towers. There's not much Flipside can do in a straight-up 5v5 man fight. But when you're diving into tier 4 towers like that, it makes it a lot easier. The added DPS from all those tower shots really give a big edge to Flipside with that defender's advantage in a scenario such as that. That will slow down Trixie's progression towards what presumably will be an Eye of Scotty. Still 2 sheep sticks out though. Looks like Fly working towards his BKB on the Crystal Maiden. On the Dire side, of course, Team Flipside continuing to find some item progression here. TA now going to move into a crit stick. Does have the Crystallis. Rubik working towards a Force Staff. And we'll see what Luna wants to grab next. But still not a lot of item progression following that Manta and BKB. And there is good news, folks. Fogged is now here with us, and he will, not on the call, but he will be joining us here for games 2 and 3. Again, that was my bad. I didn't tell him about the early schedule today. So Fogged will be here for the next coming matches, and I won't be solo. So that may be good news for some of you out there, maybe bad news. Take it as you will, but EG Fogged will be coming on as a co-caster after this match completes. Fnatic still with a very sizable lead, but we see things starting to plateau a little bit. Flipside are making a pretty solid hold, about a 15,000 deficit in experience and gold, but they're still hanging in there. The tower count is slowly getting leveled out. They still haven't taken out the tier 1 in the mid lane, but it is 6-3 and still finding good exchanges about the map. I talked in the early phase about the carry advantage pretty much going the way of Flipside eventually, but getting there is going to be the hard part, and that also assumes that there is some even farm distribution across the teams, and the big disparity is this TA. 8.5k on the net worth chart compared to Hani, who's at 15.5k. Fnatic will move into the Roche pit. This is going to be second Roshan, and it will be uncontested. They'll be able to finish it off in exchange for their tier 2 tower in the top. Flipside, feeling as if they can't contest inside the Roche pit, will at least grab a tower kill, and I think that's the right idea to put a little bit of pressure on and find some gold where possible. But now the Aegis going the way of Outworld Devourer, sort of an interesting choice. I would have thought that Arrow would be the one to take it, but I guess they're feeling at this point Hani is the true carry. He's the one hitting hard. They need him to pop back up and just plow in with those right clicks. We will have a pause coming out though, unfortunately here. Flipside going to need just a moment, so we will have a short delay. Slark now going to have his second ultimate orb, so he's actually pretty darn close to that Eye of Scatty. Just going to need the point booster. Stretching out that back a little bit. A pretty good game so far, though. Of course, Fnatic really are the heavy favorites here. Flipside RU, one of the lower-seeded teams here in the round robin. Their record has not been so great, but they're holding their own, showing us that they're a team that is come to play. They definitely have some skills to pay the bills, and they can tango with some of the best teams in the world. Good to see that Flipside have been handling themselves well. Even if they don't take a win in this game, they still had an impressive showing. Did a good job grabbing that first blood, putting some early pressure onto Hani, and they've done pretty well for themselves. So happy to see that for sure. Unfortunately, though, this pause will further delay us. We are getting close to that hour mark. And our next, I think the next lobby is hosted already. Just to review the schedule today, guys, coming up will be... I clicked on the wrong image. Let's go to Starladder. Oh, we're going to resume, so it doesn't even matter. All right, well, we're right back in it. Next.kz versus Sigma will be the next match coming up, so that's going to be another good one here. Oh, up top in light. Going to get caught, but will be able to pour it out. Noble effort from Trixie, but not going to find the kill. Of course, not going to have any sort of interrupt mechanism. Elder Titan going to grab a couple of smokes here, so it looks like Fnatic may try and smoke up and grab some sort of a kill, and then just move into the base, try and make it a 5v4 on the field, and then just push in for the win. BKB on the way for Storm Spirit, does have the recipe as well as the Ogre Club, so just going to farm up that Mithril Hammer, and he's reasonably close, just about 1,000 gold off or so. Again, Hani already has his BKB, and they may just want to be a bit more patient and wait for Trixie to finish up that Scatty. He's going to have it before too long here as well, so not surprised to see Fnatic slowing down a little bit and not getting hyper aggressive. Fly now going to have his Mithril Hammer, and wow, Fly's actually pretty darn close to that BKB, just about 200 off or so, grabbing the recipe. So that means Fly could have a big freezing field to finish off this game. Always exciting to see a Crystal Maiden with a BKB on just hop into the mix and make it rain with all that snow. Always exciting. I think there's a good highlight from earlier in the Starladder Season 8 round robin where maybe it was Puppy on Crystal Maiden had an ultra kill with the freezing field where I just lose my biscuits. Ultra kill, oh my god. I love those big plays. I actually had that moment of recognition where I just went on YouTube and typed in like Starladder Season 8 highlights and found like all the clips that people have trimmed out from like the big plays. I was like, oh wow, I'm glad that people do this. This is something that I wish I had done, and someone's already done it for me. But oh, cheese and crackers in light. He's going to be in big trouble. Era going to fly in. That's going to be a sheep stick to start it off. And that is one dead Templar Assassin. Gem going to be on the ground. And now things going to be very difficult for Flipside in terms of trying to hold this off. TA going to be caught without a buyback here. Going to be about 200 gold short. And that means this will be a 5v4 for about 45 seconds, and so difficult for Flipside to hold. They need the damage from that TA desperately to make this happen. They may want to make it a bit of a base race. Wicked Sick is in the top lane, pressuring that tier 3 perhaps, or looking like he may want to pressure it. He is going to delay, and will port back later, but Sheasley just going to get dropped like he's hot to start off this fight. Whiff from Flipside to begin things. And yeah, looks like Wicked Sick is just going to commit to it. At least he's going to do a lot of damage to this tower. Will pop the Manta, and it's really the best they can hope for. Now Bulk going to get caught. These Sheep Sticks are just too much. No Fear going to come in. He's got a BKB on, but they're just going to right-click him down. He is not tanky enough to make it happen. And now it will be Luna, the lone defender. Tier 3 up top falls. Tier 3, well, down bottom. I have that backwards. The tier 3 towers fall. Wicked Sick going to burn the Eclipse. Not going to be the best Eclipse that we've seen. Hani going to come in. Will take a couple of beams, but is just going to be able to pop the BKB. Will burn a solo Sanity's Eclipse, and that is going to be an easy defense. Meanwhile, the Rax here in the top lane. Why do I keep saying this wrong? In the bottom lane, on the top side of the map, are going to fall. They're going to catch the Templar Assassin. Rubik will respawn, so will the Venomancer. But Fnatic obviously going to find the better of this exchange. They have everyone still up. They are going to defend their Rax while taking out the bottom lane of Rax for Flipside. Not sure that Bulk and Sheasley are going to be able to do a lot to try and defend the base. Bulk going to get caught once again, and these are just free kills at this point. The supports are so underfarmed, so squishy. Easy kills for Era. Trixie going to overcommit here, maybe taking a lot of damage. Will be able to make it out. Era going to be able to scoot around the base as well. Earth Splitter for good form to secure those kills. Fnatic going to completely scrape it up. 5-0. And I think Flipside may be well advised to tap out at this point. We see that graph. Oh, looks a little even. Nope. Fnatic just going to plow through him at the end here with a nice little exponential growth to finish off this graph. They will rotate their way to the mid lane. No buybacks available for Flipside, so they will just hang on a bit longer. But it is going to be pretty grim. Trixie ready and waiting for a respawn. Going to hop into the well. And Trixie, you need to be a little careful here, pal. I don't know if you're pretty manly, but are you that manly? Not going to be able to finish off a light, but is going to turn around. That'll be the end of Bulk. That poor Venomancer, he is just going to get dropped once again. Meanwhile, the tier 3 in the mid will fall, and the Rack's going to go down as well. Fnatic has sealed the deal here. It is just a matter of time, folks. There is still a sign of life for Fnatic. This win will take them to 11-5 in the round robin, and their hopes of making it into the top 4 do live on. Still going to hinge on a couple of other things moving in their favor, a couple of other results that they need to happen, but still, they needed this win to stay alive, and they're going to find it. Very exciting that we could still see Fnatic in the top 4 land finals of Starladder Season 8. Didn't think we would see it happen, and alas, there is still a little bit of hope. A little surprised to see Flipside not tapping out quite yet, but I think this might actually be their last match. I'd have to pull up the round robin and look, but Flipside, no, they actually still have quite a few games to go. Never mind. Just having a little bit of fun here as they continue to dive the well. Luna actually going to grab an Ag Scepter, so we'll just start burning some beams out. Unfortunately, BKBs aplenty for Fnatic. Going to make that kind of a wasted effort, I suppose one could say. And there it is. GG well played, coming out from Wicked Sick. And that'll be the end of it. The Ultra Kill coming out for Trixie to finish it off. So it's not going to be Fly with the Freezing Field Ultra Kill this time. But there it is. GG. Call me maybe. A little bit of fun. That does wrap up our first game, though, folks. Thank you for joining us here on Beyond. Thank you for joining us on Beyond the Summit for your Starladder Season 8 round-robin coverage. Of course, we're on BTS 2 today, but still, thank you for joining us. I am Zyori. I was slated to solo cast the first game, but EG Fog going to be joining me here for games 2 and 3, so I will have a co-caster, and it's going to be a good bit of fun. Next.kz versus Sigma International coming up after this short break, guys. Don't go anywhere, because plenty of Dota 2 action resumes on Beyond the Summit after this short break.